Hey friends, just another day, another job. We've got a 2003 Infiniti G35 here with a big dent in the door. That's besides the point. We've got a new control arm here. We've got two new control arms actually, but I don't think I'm going to change that one today. So, it's getting a little late anyway. So this is a mouthful. It is the front of the car, but it's the rear lower control arm. It's kind of ridiculous, but anyway, lower rear control arm. Now this was a pain to get out. What I used is pipe wrench, crowbar, 19mm socket, I believe, for the big ones, and a 14 for the little ones. For this little control arm, it comes up here and it goes over top of that and both underneath there. So you got the two nuts underneath here that are 14s. They're easy to find. So anyway, this beast slides on, and as you can imagine, it was tight on there. My goodness, it was on there tight. No surprise. I tried spraying the crap out of it with Seafoam Deep Creep. I think there's better products out there, but this seems to soak in all right. Didn't make much of a difference. What I ended up doing is wrapping this one underneath here like that, and just fitting it over top. Once you get that one off, of course, and you get the nut off, that part wasn't too hard. If you find yours is very difficult to take off, like this one here was a pain to get off, just the little nut, and I was afraid I was going to break it. So what I did is I let it soak with seafoam, and I worked it in and out. As you can see, it's pretty rusty, but I worked it in and out with the impact. You don't have to have an impact, but I use a little one, just a little Mastercraft Maximum. And anyhow, like I said, I worked this back and forth. Now granted, your hand strength alone won't do the trick if it's bad enough, so I use this one, and what I do is just like that. It's a pain to get at, but you turn the wheel all the way to the right after you take your wheel off, of course, and you just put that on there like that. Make sure it grips good, and you work it back and forth until you see the top moving. You have to get through the rubber, because obviously it's a rubber bushing, right? So this control arm wasn't even necessarily worn out. I just think somebody hit a pothole or something and bent it, because the space between here was bad enough to where they couldn't do a wheel alignment on it. So anyhow, you work that back and forth, and then what I do at the same time is I grab my crowbar, and at first I had to start like that and just pry it up, but then after it gets low enough, you can pry it up like that on this piece, and then once that works far enough down, then you can even go on the actual bushing itself, on the actual metal piece anyway, and then work your way down like that. And this one wasn't too bad. This one just sits in there, right in that hole. And actually, same concept. It was kind of complicated getting that out, because you got this piece same way. So same concept there again. I actually, because I couldn't get a pipe wrench in there, so I used the Visegrips, and I just clamped it on there like that, jammed it in there. You actually have to push the bushing, or not the bushing, but your ball joint rubber up all the way up over this cone, and then mine's actually split. I didn't even notice that till now. But anyway, you clamp down on that, because usually you can spin them just like this. You can see I can spin it with my hands. And sorry for the poor quality video, but anyway, that's how I got mine out. And again, the basic tools that you should need are a breakover bar. Is it helps a lot. If you've got a pipe and a ratchet that can handle the pressure, then you might get lucky and not break it. But yeah, a breakover bar works great. And again, you got your 19mm, and I just used the 10 to get the plastic off. There's a little bolt that screws from that into that. So just a little 10mm, a 10mm, a 19mm, and a 14mm. I don't even know where it is now. I'm not very organized. There we go. And then a hammer. One other thing I did is I used a big one where I had to, and just put the nut There we go. Let's get that old one out of the way now that I've demonstrated. And I just leave the nut on there. So you screw it in place a ways. And then once it's flush with the bottom here, then pound on it a bit. Just make sure you don't damage anything in the process. I'm sure somebody can chime in here and tell me I'm doing something wrong, but please do so. I'm happy to learn. I'm still learning every day. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You take this one off, and then I used again a pipe wrench. This pipe wrench for the inside back there to wiggle it back and forth to get the bushing off, and that would be this bushing right here. As you can see, all the marks on the bottom there where I was hacking away at it. Honestly, that doesn't even destroy the bushing either. I mean, if there was some reason you need to reuse it, you could still do it because it doesn't damage anything that's important. But anyway, time for the new one, I guess. Hope this video helps somebody. And while we're in here, I would encourage you guys to check everything else. Your front control arm, let's get that light out of the way a little bit. Your front control arm is this one right here. And I'm just going to show you something here. I mean, it's pretty worn out as well. I mean, there's supposed to be some play in there, but not that much, which is why I've got a new one, but that one doesn't need to be changed today. I'm just trying to get this car to pass inspection. Your brakes, while you're in here, if you need to do the brakes on an Infiniti G35, there's in there, I'm not sure what size it is, but let's take a quick look, see if it's maybe the same 19 that I've been using here. No, that's not it. Okay, so it's probably a 20 or a 21 millimeter for your brakes. And then, yeah, you just undo that one on the top and on the bottom, if you can see it. And, yeah, the caliper should come out, and then you just change your brake pads. We actually just put new ones in here, as you can see, kind of. But, yeah, like I said, I hope this video helps somebody. We just put new struts in here as well, and that's easy as well. You got the 3 bolts under the hood up top. Very, very easy to find. And you just undo the 3 nuts on the top, and then you take that big bolt out on the bottom. It's got a nut on this side, and of course the bolt on that side, so you just hold on to it. Again, I'm not sure what size that is, but yeah, it's not hard to change. You just want to make sure that you take your brake line off up here, and you just pop this one out like that, and then you get it back in. Somehow this one's all bent. I can't remember if I did that or what happened there, but anyway, like I said, hope this video helps somebody. They've got an upper control arm here as well, but this one's still good, and it wouldn't be super hard to change either. You got a bolt there and a bolt there, and then of course you take this off. There is a I use a wire brush as well, if I can find the big one here. I had a big one and a little one here, but there it is. So there's a lot of mud on that, but anyway, you pull that out, you pull the pin out, which is another thing I guess I should have mentioned on the bottom here. You gotta, once you pull that out, this one here has a little pin in there as well. You gotta straighten it out and pull it out. It can be a pain. What I use for that is actually the same thing. I use the needle nose pliers to straighten it out, and I use the vice grip. Once I had it out far enough, I just clamped onto it, and then I actually used the pry bar to pry it out. I just kind of went in there like that, and then, yeah, you can make it work. Sorry I'm not more informative here, but I hope this helps somebody nonetheless. And, yeah, if you guys have any comments or concerns, or you see anything I'm doing wrong, or you got something you can teach me, by all means, let me know.